My name is Joe. Today I am a tournament organizer, but usually I am a fighting game player for the community, obviously. I've been doing it for a while, like probably sounds like 7 or something like that. Well, ECT generally started, it was a small little Long Island thing. I'm from Long Island, and John and I are really good friends. We started playing DDR together, actually. That's how we kind of sort of met, from playing DDR and like in the groove. And then I slowly got him into Third Strike. And when he started getting into Third Strike, he wanted to run like sessions and stuff like that, and have you know, like small little mini tournaments and things like that. So we did it in our friend's backyard, just like a bunch of tables in the backyard. And then we started doing it at a miniature golf place that had like mini golf, like arcade that had DDR and CDS2 and Marvel 2, and like Killer Instinct they had. So we started doing small tournaments there. And then one day he was like, "Yo, John, let's run a major." So after, you know, a couple of years talking about it, we decided to give it a shot, and here we are now, year 4. Being a TO and trying to make sure everything runs smoothly, it's honestly a dice roll, because you're never going to know what problems lie in the tournament. I mean, you can prepare for absolutely anything, and the way between all the variables that you can't control. Like, I mean, you can't really control certain players, and obviously there's a DQ time, but there's some things that are kind of out of your power of control. You know, so you have to make sure the things you can control, you have on lock, 100% lock. Make sure all your systems work, all your games work, your staff is ready, because you can't do it. Even though it's, you know, John and I are the TOs, we have a whole staff of people that help us do it. And you can't just do it with 2 people. You know, you have to have a crew ready to go, have to be in their spots. It's a whole lot of planning. As long as you make sure you can take care of the things you can control 100%, and you just gotta let all the other things just kind of come. You gotta take the punches as they come, because I mean, tournaments, some run crazy smooth, some don't run really smooth, but experience also helps. You know, the first year wasn't as good as the second year in, you know, and so on and so forth. So you gotta take your losses and learn from them, and just keep going, and just base it off last year's event to make sure you always do better from your last year's event. Yeah, we did very good this year, but a couple of small hiccups, and now we'll try to prevent them for next year. So now we know what to prepare for. Between all the different scenes that I've been to in the FGC, whether it be Japan or other places in America and stuff like that, even the East Coast is broken up into a bunch of small different scenes. And that's the one thing I believe hurts the East Coast, is that we're so spread out. You go to California, there's NorCal and there's SoCal. You know, here there's the New York players, and then there's even, like, sometimes they break into smaller factions. Like, then there's the guys who play in the city, you know, Queens, Brooklyn, Bronx kind of sort of thing. Then there's the guys that play in Long Island. Then there's the dudes that play in, a couple of people who play in Jersey. Then you go farther down and you get the Maryland heads. You know, so it keeps going like that. It's really hard to unite everybody. Whereas in California, it's just kind of, you know, it's right here. Because over here, especially being in Long Island, everything is separated. It's not like you can just drive to Long Island. You got to take a bridge. You got to do 4 different things to get there. So when we have a session, it's kind of not good. Or when we got to go somewhere, it's hard for us to get there. In California, you don't really got to pay for tolls and stuff like that. Like, even though there's a session in Long Island, that could be a half-hour away, but you might have to pay a toll. You know what I'm saying? So now you're costing more money and things like that. I think that hurts the East Coast. The West Coast, I feel, in America, has the strongest scene. They have a lot of juice, a lot of strive with the game. They have a lot of very notable players over there, and they really work on the community. I mean, you know, Alex Valle does this thing out there with the level upstream, got that whole thing going, really trying to make the scene grow. And I feel like over here, I feel like not that we fight with each other, is that we're just broken up into so many small little factions. It makes it harder to do something like that. Now, in Japan, it's like the cream of the crop, because their scene is still alive in the arcade. Like, I mean, their arcades are still crazy. You go to the right arcade at the right time, and it could be 50 people standing up. When I was at XPO, I went to Shinjuku. Every Street Fighter 4 player you could ever name in Japan was sitting in front of the same 8 cabinets. It was crazy. Every single top Japan player. I mean, that's also SPO time, so it's obviously not like that all year long. But their scene is just a lot more developed. I feel like they also help each other more. Like, all right, there's this whole Morrigan epidemic going on in America, and it's really hard for us to get around. In Japan, I mean, I'm just kind of saying it from experience and the way that I know that they play. If someone in Japan kind of figured something like that out and saw that it was like a serious problem, I feel like they would figure out the problem and they would eliminate the problem. because it makes everybody a better player. Like if we figure out how to get over one thing, then you just learn something new. And then there's another thing, and then you figure out how to get over that thing. So it's a constant uphill battle. But I feel like over here we don't work together enough to break through the problem. I mean, I'm just using the Morgan thing as an example, but I feel like in Japan it wouldn't happen like that. Like if there was a situation like that, they would overcome it. You know, they would all get together, figure out what's up, why it's happening, what to do about it, and then they would overcome it. With the conclusion of this tournament, I mean, and the future plans of the tournament, John and I are talking about what we're going to do next, how we're going to do it, what we could do also. I mean, it's really hard to come up with things that haven't been done before because there's so many different tournaments, so many different majors that happen. So it's really hard to try to stay original, you know what I mean? As long as we can run a good event, make sure it's timely, make sure we get good players out, and make sure we have a good production. I mean, that's the really thing that I care about. So like I said, it's really hard to break the mold because there's so many tournaments going on. In the future, I mean, I hope this thing blows up. I mean, not even us, I mean like the scene in general. You know what I mean? It's not really about just us, it's about the whole scene taking the next step. You know what I mean? Whether it's, you know, more on the production value thing or we get better sponsors to kind of like check us out and be like, oh, look at what these guys are doing. And they're pretty much doing it without crazy corporate sponsors. Like, yeah, we got Mad Cats and, you know, they got EG guys and stuff like that. But there's no, you know, $1 million corporations that are saying, here, let's make this thing blow up, you know. So hope it gets to the point where we could actually do this for a living, whether it be with the events or the players or whatever. I mean, that's what I want to do. You're supposed to do what you love in life. I mean, this is what I love, but unfortunately it's really hard to do it for a life kind of deal. So let's hope it gets there soon, at least while I'm still around. Now, in Japan, it's like the cream of the crop because their scene is still alive in the arcade. Like, I mean, their arcades are still crazy. If you go to the right arcade at the right time, this kid.